106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it.
Good evening, Chicago. We're so glad that you could join us for this, our Friday night edition of Chicago Corner. We've got quite a show lined up for you tonight. Unfortunately, I did not grab my hat in time to be prepared for our News Brothers intro. However, I do want to welcome to the show my colleague and News Brother Emeritus, Mr. Edward Heller, who did remember his hat.
Yeah, although it doesn't fit very well over the headphones, I am realizing. So maybe I should try emailing this to you and see if you get it by the end of the show.
You know, it appears to me it's easier to do an Elwood Blues voice having had a head cold all week long, because I'm very nasally this evening in the Chicago Corner Hotel Ballroom. Let's see who's joined us.
Lake Owassapamati.
Lake Owassapamati.
That's not where we are.
No, we've got Miguel H. in the chat, Kathy Powers, Sunflowers. So far, that's all who have checked in. You know, it occurs to me, Ed, as we prepare for our big holiday extravaganza that's happening December 23rd at the Patio Theater. I am very concerned if our viewers don't continue to pass along the link that's in our show notes or from our social media. You and I might have to drive around the city after stealing a civil defense siren speaker off of a high-rise antenna structure to drive around the city as our comrades, the Blues Brothers, did to promote that evening's festivities. Do you recall it?
Do you think, Jerry, that we'd be able to have one actually stay up on top of the News Brothers mobile?
I don't know.
It might kind of break through the roof. I mean, I know my car's falling apart. I don't know about yours.
The Black Bat. You know, I think we've got enough lead time to promote this thing, and I just put it on the Reader today in their events calendar, and I also paid the premium of $183 to have it also shared on 57 other news platforms, including WGN News's calendar. Everywhere. It's on 57 other event calendars. So along with social media and the good people here who watch the show, who we're hoping will help us spread the word to collect canned food and toys for the neediest of Chicago families.
Yeah, and I just checked the Patio Theater's events page, and the double feature is now listed for the 23rd.
It certainly is. And yes, Kathy, it is shameless promotion, because without a budget or money, we have to shamelessly promote ourselves. But as you all know, it's going to be for a good cause. And we're looking forward.
Yeah, there's no shame in this promotion, though. Honestly, because it's for a good cause.
And we're looking very forward to greeting our viewers and visitors, bringing canned food and toys during our live stream portion of that evening at 5:30. We're going to be streaming live with the assistance of Daniel Lupker, and I believe Faze will be helping out with our live stream as being provided by 99 Perspectives. Kit Cabela will be there. Of course, Ed, Kira, and I will also be there.
Well, so we think Kid'll be there. It might be one of his clones. We have still yet to run the tests because he won't stand still for one moment for us to actually take a sample.
So it will be everyone's opportunity to also join us on camera as we live stream to Rockfin and YouTube that night. So
It's going to be a good time.
It will. It will. There will be a Christmas sing-along before the show also, as provided by organist Jay Warren, who's very well known in Chicago. He regularly performs at a lot of silent film screenings through the Chicago Silent Film Society. I know Jay personally. Good man. Yeah, great. Make me hungry. I've spent all day long on Chicago Corner business, not taking any time to eat. And here you are stuffing your face with pizza while we're starting the show.
Well, you know, Jerry, all you got to do is stop by my place for pizza before you start the live stream, and then you'd have some to eat at the live stream.
How about you deliver and we do the live stream together from here?
Okay. I mean, again, I could email the pizza to you, but it probably won't get there till the end of the show. I keep doing that line forever until people get sick of it.
Yeah.
I think I should.
Yeah. Well, I think I'll be picking up Middle Eastern carryout later after the show's over with. But it's been, hold on, guys.
It's Friday.
Yeah, it's Friday, and I've had a nasty head cold all week long. Although it did seem to help me shed 5 pounds. Do people normally lose weight with a cold?
Yeah, they do. Well, a lot of it is because they get dehydrated, but sure.
I think also.
I mean, if you got a cold, you might not be eating well either. So, anyway, orange whip. Orange whip.
2 orange whips.
It's not actually an orange whip. It's more margarita adjacent.
So, before we go into tonight's top story, I wanted to share some breaking news that came today, which was, scary. Luckily, as I'm understanding, there were no fatalities. But let's run the video as reported by CBS Chicago. And I think you shared the story with me in the Slack, Ed. We'll run this. What happened? Semi-truck.
Oh, that story.
Yeah, UPS semi-truck goes off bridge, catches fire on Indiana Toll Road in Hammond. And I will preface this with some details. Indiana State Police said that just after 2 a.m., the truck hit the Calumet River Bridge and caught fire. CBS 2's Chris Habermel said the truck dropped in between the east and west lanes as of 11 a.m. Part of the truck detached and fell into the water. Let's watch the video from CBS 2.
Rescuers call it a miracle. The driver of this truck survived after a crash that left the semi dangling from a bridge. It happened on the Indiana Toll Road.
CBS 2's along the toll road. Marissa, that semi crashed. It caught fire. Truly, it is amazing that driver is not seriously hurt.
Yeah, truly a miracle, according to first responders that we spoke with today. They tell us this is something that happens once in a decade in their career. Now, The good news is the eastbound lanes have reopened. We've seen crews working on the westbound lanes doing some bridge assessment.
What's happened here? I swear to God, if they run a commercial.
We've also seen some groups here in the past hour coming here to pull remaining smaller pieces of the truck out of the river, doing river assessment here as well. So how did this happen? This is the big question everybody's talking about. Hammond Fire says they are now looking into whether...
Just adjusted the high definition, so hang on.
Into whether this could have been a medical emergency, a truck malfunction, or whether that truck driver hit something on the road that would invert the truck between the tollways. Now, really, the pictures tell this story. The truck hit the Calumet River Bridge just after 2 and caught fire. It went
Jesus, like an action movie.
Dropped in between the east and west lanes, hanging cab first above the river. Again, it's not clear what caused the truck, which was empty, lose control. Hammond Fire and crews thought the driver could be trapped in the cab, but after about 20 minutes or so, search and rescue crews found him, a 32-year-old man from Lansing, clinging to bridge support.
Jesus.
Okay.
this morning. It was unbelievable. We searched the cab, found nobody. We started sweeping the waterway, and like I said, it was just no luck. We were wondering what happened and assumed he was ejected. Within about, 15, 20 minutes, we did hear a little bit of yelling. He was kind of clinging to one of the pillars back over there.
That's crazy,
a couple
man.
hours after the crash, the cab of the truck detached.
How?
Our crews had to use a giant crane.
Kathy has an idea.
To pull both pieces of the truck
Potholes.
and then eventually haul it away. Cleanup continues here into the evening hours. In a statement, UPS says they're thankful that their driver is okay. They also say that he was, again, released from the hospital this afternoon with just minor injuries. They say they will be working with law enforcement as they continue this investigation.
Yeah,
well,
he was
thank goodness
attempting a triple Lindy. I don't know. Jerry?
Yeah, well, as I said, thank goodness for that. There were no fatalities with either the UPS driver or any other motorists that were on that stretch of road. And I'm just trying to close up that window so it doesn't continue to suck the resources of my computer, despite the fact I did restart my computer before the show.
To answer your post here, Cactus Man 07 PIM, they actually did get a crane. That's how I first heard about this story, as they were talking about it on the radio news while during my morning commute, and then lucky for us, CBS2 had the video of the actual truck, so we could actually wrap our heads around what the hell. But still, how?
It's that kind of a position with that semi in between the two roadways. I mean, you would imagine that it launched off of a ramp or something.
Yeah,
that is pretty crazy. I'm going to be very curious to see what the developments are and how that ended up happening.
Yeah, I just hope somebody does a computer simulation so we can play that back, so they could kind of figure out what the hell, at least how they think it happened. Because I mean, although the guy's alive, maybe they can ask him, but what kind of state he was in when that happened, we don't know.
If any state, it's almost like the magic bullet. How did it get from there to there? So, well, we're very grateful that the UPS driver is safe and that no other motorists were injured or hurt in that crazy situation. But moving on to our top story of the evening.
Was this a breaking top story?
No, it's not a breaking top story, but it's interesting because we saw Alderman Gardiner over at the petition drop-off 2 Mondays ago. Yes. And he was looking pretty shifty, as he normally does. I'm not quite sure what inspires his. Well, I know that Ed's going to chastise me.
So much that I had to do a double take, and we had to start the video over. That's why I was like, was that Aldermort?
Yeah, it's Aldermort sporting his neo-Nazi skinhead look. I know I'm going to get chastised by Ed for I'm not broad stroking, not all skinheads are neo-Nazi.
I mean, look, I don't know if all of the members of Slytherin were also Nazis. I'm just saying.
It's definitely a look he chooses, though, I think, for intimidation factor. And I think it really reflects his very, very creepy presence. Because as we'll see from this video I'm about to share, he decided to intimidate canvassers in his ward as released or as shared through a Facebook video. Anyway, let me run the video. I did a special Chicago Corner supercut, so enjoy. Here he is, stalking the canvassers. I think the dogs sensed danger. That's why they started barking. Yeah. Either that or they smelled sulfur. Surprisingly, Kathy, yeah.
Yeah, I don't even think Lightfoot would be doing this.
No.
Like, dude, people can canvass. They can ask for signatures in your ward. People
That's
can
right.
run against you. In fact, there's 5 people currently running against you in your ward. Maria Tomic is just one of them. I wonder, I mean, I don't know where in his ward he lives, but I'm wondering if maybe they were canvassing a little too close to him.
He's telling them to run a clean campaign.
He's telling them?
He's telling them. He's telling the canvassers.
How is that a dirty campaign? How is it dirty to ask people for signatures?
We'll get to that in a moment. But I want to run the rest of the video.
The only thing, like I said, Jerry, the only thing I can think is that maybe they're canvassing a little too close to his house for his comfort. It's not illegal at all.
Let's see what they said. What the police said. Hang on. The canvasser thought Gardiner was going to punch him in the face. Isn't that normally what people were? I mean, he's already had some of his minions like run their cars over people's lawns.
Yeah, dude, get a new grift. Your time's done.
Gardiner stares at the woman in her car while continuing to talk.
Intimidation.
Tire screeches as Gardiner peels out.
Of course, because he's a hothead, whiny bitch.
Exactly. So here's what was reported on
Facebook. I don't even like saying that word.
You ought to get used to it. Embrace it. Let it nurture you and mold you as we talk about these scumbags.
Yeah, I don't like saying
what a fucking bitch, am I right?
That's Gardiner.
But in the case of Aldermore, I'll make an exception.
So, as reported on Facebook by People's Fabric, video footage shows Alderman Jim Gardiner harassing volunteers out collecting signatures for Maria Tomic, who is running against him for the 45th Ward Alder seat. Gardiner also argues with a woman who signed for Tomic in front of the woman's grandchild. Now, these are more details that weren't as clear in the video. At least one police report was filed after the incident against Gardiner. In the video, recorded this past Saturday, Gardiner is seen pulling over his GMC truck and along with one of his supporters, confronting Tomic's volunteers who are simply out collecting signatures to get on the ballot. There is absolutely no acceptable reason for Gardiner to pull over to harass or confront volunteers for another campaign. According to the report, Gardiner told Tomic's volunteers to get off the street and to quit talking to people about me. When asked about the incident, Chicago police told us area detectives are investigating.
Wow.
Now, Ed, you caught something before the show that I was not myself able to review yet, but why don't you walk us through this? Because
okay, I think this might be part of the same Twitter thread that you were reading. It's a little further down. It says Gardiner is from the People's Fabric. Twitter account.
Well, I'm on Facebook. You're on Twitter.
Okay.
I was sharing something.
They have a Facebook account as well. I don't know if they're posting exactly the same stuff, but here they say Gardiner is a uniquely unqualified elected official who is an actual danger to the public. These are the candidates running to replace him in alphabetical order: Susanna Ernst, Megan Mathias, Anna Santoyo, James Sue, Maria Tomic. Now, James Sue, I think we just did a story because he, I think, was another one of the harassment victims of Aldermort, and he's running against him now. So, I mean, that's a heck of a story right there, but it sounds like there might be more than one decent opponent running against him right now. We'll have to dig a little deeper in these candidates as we get closer to the election and see which ones we think are going to be the strongest here. But honestly, if we can get rid of Aldermort, that's another clown that's left city council, and that's better for all of us.
This guy is a menace. He's proven himself as a menace I can't even keep track of all the other stories we've reported on him. And he seems to have a cult of personality in his ward where he's got literal thug supporters out harassing other people that either are out, well, in this case, campaigning against him, or also expressing their dissatisfaction with him on social media. The incident I was alluding to that we reported on, I think it was earlier this year, was one of his supporters decided to run over like a lawn statue on someone's lawn that was complaining about him on social media. It's very bizarre. It's just really, really bizarre behavior. And I know he's under investigation for a lot of things, and like a lot of other aldermen who are engaged in quite questionable activity and ethics, I think that this just demonstrates he thinks that he's entitled and he can just do whatever the fuck he wants, harassing other people and terrorizing other people, because that's his little fiefdom and he doesn't want anybody to usurp it.
Well, we'll see what happens in the next election. I don't know. I mean, unless they do the old Chicago thing where they vote early and vote often in his ward and nobody challenges it. We'll see.
So I'm loading up our next story, which does have a YouTube video. So I want to skip the ad.
Kathy, I think he's more like he's part of the outfit, it seems to me.
It does.
But, yeah.
It does seem like he's part of the outfit. Although with the skinhead, he does have that neo.
Or at least he seems to act like it. Which I mean, it's, if you've seen Goodfellas, it's like it's like he's taken his entire temperament from that movie.
Very much so. It is. He has a very gangster mentality. All right, so
I bet I still cook better than him.
Our next story. Give me a moment as I start a sentence to finish what I'm saying, please. All right. As reported from WGN 9 News, I'm going to read from their website before we actually run the video, but Mayor Lightfoot decided to travel to high-crime neighborhoods to hold roundtables to hear from community voices. And this came reported by Mike Love and Eli Ong at WGN News. Marcellus Moore, a former member of the Vice Lords, has spent time in jail and on the streets of Chicago's West Side. He's seen it all: poverty, crime, and incarceration. But inside of the Firehouse Community Arts Center in North Lawndale, he witnessed something he'd never seen before: a Chicago mayor in the flesh in his neighborhood. I want to actually hear what you think is going to make a difference in this community, said Mayor Lori Lightfoot. All right, let's watch the video.
We stand in an alley in North Lawndale, the West Side.
Marcellus Moore, a former member of the Vice Lords, has spent time in jail and on the streets of Chicago's West Side.
Our community is suffering.
He's seen it all: poverty, crime, and incarceration. But inside of the Firehouse Community Arts Center in North Lawndale, he's witnessing something he's never seen before.
I've been here 37 years. I have never met a mayor.
Mayor Lori Lightfoot came to this neighborhood to hold a roundtable discussion on the city's most pressing problem, violent crime.
I want to actually hear what you think is going to make the difference in this community.
North Lawndale, a neighborhood historically troubled by crime, is making progress. According to city statistics, shootings are...
Where's she been for the previous 3 years of her term? Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot. It's campaign season.
This is where.
Yeah. It's campaign season now, so she has to look like she's actually out there listening and doing something. Although normally we know when people offer criticisms or advice, she routinely turns that advice or criticism away because she's so thin-skinned.
Down 43%, and homicides have plunged 50% from last year to this year.
This happens all the time, but it's not being seen, or it's only in this small community.
And if you're seeing it, please don't be on the sideline.
WGN was the only television station granted access to the discussion.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
What's that about?
What? What?
Why?
Why do you only grant one media outlet access? Could this be a controlled event?
Of course, Jerry. That's exactly what it is. Because if I let all the rest of the media in there, they'll actually have like real criticisms of me, and I can't have that. I'm running again for re-election. I'm totally going to win.
They would have had legitimate questions for her that she didn't want to answer, or perhaps she didn't want to actually acknowledge or answer the question where she'd been for the past 3 years during her term, that she's suddenly coming out now. Now, Kathy brings up a good point. Did she dress up like she dressed up for church? Do you remember when she went to that?
You mean for the signatures thing?
Yeah, when she went out to exploit the citizens in that community. She dressed up like she was a fucking gangster with her little hat and but here she was
wearing sweats and the hat like she was going to be walking in style, collecting signatures, and she needed to be comfortable.
She didn't accompany those people on that petition walk, Ed. From what
she didn't even go.
No, she was just there to give everybody their marching orders after the pastor gave her his endorsement, which, as we reported on earlier this year, may have been a violation of 501(c) rules, as far as like charity.
Well, we know churches are not supposed to do politics, and we also know that they completely ignore that all the time, and everyone lets them get away with it.
Exactly. So as Kathy is sharing here, she sees that she did dress up, right? But it is curious that she does not allow any of the other media from across Chicago. Now, remember also, Ed, when she said that she was also going to be granting interviews with media personalities who were of color, maybe the WGN crew was all African-American or a diverse reporters. I don't know.
It's more likely that they're just controlled. They aren't. WGN isn't what it used to be. I mean, there are still a lot of veterans there, but they're basically run by a new company now that owns a whole bunch of other news outlets all over the country, and they're very likely corporate controlled. And so Lori's a corporate animal, and you can't. I'm just saying she's a. They're not going to let her look too bad unless there's like valid, obvious things that are going on, and that they can't. I'm losing it. I think I need an additional beverage, Jerry, because the alcohol's kicking in, and it's got to get past the hump for my brain to kick back into normal gear again.
All right. Well, let me take the reins. I think it does say everything.
Okay.
This was a controlled and managed media event, only attended by WGN. And yeah, Sinclair Media is now Sinclair leans conservative, but the Democratic Party pretty much leans conservative these days too. Anyway,
we learned that the other day when they decided they wanted to force the rail workers back to work when most of them hadn't actually ratified that contract.
Yeah. Let me continue the WGN video, since at least we have somebody covering what went on there. And I will give GN credit for actually interviewing this particular former gang member in regards to his concerns. So let's hear what he has to share.
Every piece of resource that
comes to our community.
There were a variety of voices, from former gang members to business owners, and from pastors
We have the ideas of how we can streamline this.
to parents.
They're fighting an uphill battle right now.
40-year-old Princess Shaw attended the discussion with her 3-month-old daughter, Chloe. The lifelong Lawndale resident pressed the mayor to do more about nuisance businesses that erode the quality of life and create a creeping sense of unease.
And she looks so checked out.
Dude, I seriously go back to the spot where they got her on camera.
She just cannot wait to get out of there is what it is. She's like, yeah.
And she looks exhausted. Like whatever she's wearing today, she must have slept in at the actual meeting where she dressed up for and just happened to be wearing that when she came to this thing.
Yeah, she just wants to get out of there. This is like, okay, I've made my appearance. I care about crime. I care about the community. Where am I going next to greet my donors who are contributing money to my campaign, which we'll get to in a moment with Chicago Fire soccer team, or in a story 1 or 2 down. But let's finish this video.
Creeping sense of unease.
Because if you get enough little things, it'll make a big difference.
For more than an hour, the mayor listened, took notes, and explained the city's plan to deal with what is known as the public safety gap, a disparity that 2/3 of the...
Again, where has she been for the past 3.5 fucking years? She should have come out of the gate with this.
City's violent crime occurs in just 15 of the city's 77 neighborhoods.
But if we're going to break this cycle, the grip of the street, we've got to play the long game. And the long game is investing our way out of the problem, not arresting our way.
Really? Really? Investing and not arresting. Where's all of the money going? It's not going into the communities. It's going to the police department. Every other fucking show we're talking about how, the sex bots are here. What did I say?
Okay, who had 8:02 p.m.?
Was it my potty mouth? Probably.
It might be.
No, but seriously, man, we're going to invest, not arrest. That's bullshit. Because, once this next mayoral race is over with, if she wins, it's going to be business as usual. Because this is what she ran on the first time. And look at these poor people in this community in present, listening, offering, begging for help there. And it's just the same line of pandering. All right, let's continue.
Not arresting our way out of the problem.
He stopped to talk to me.
And for Marcellus Moore, who says he's felt ignored by city leaders for most of his life, the mayor's visit was the first step toward a solution, listening to the community's concerns.
Her listening tour. They all love to listen, but they don't do a goddamn thing after they listen.
It was an amazing feeling just to be able to have somebody come to our community and, a sense of urgency that we need help.
In North Lawndale, Mike Lowe, WGN News.
Okay, you know what? I'm going to say this right now. Let me get rid of this screen real quickly. If you want to pay attention to somebody who is, if you want to support someone who's actually listening to what's happening in the community and knows what the hell's going on, I'm going to endorse Jamal Green again. Okay? Here's a guy who's involved in the community. He knows what the hell's going on. So much of his platform specifically deals with and addresses this stuff. He will be ready from day one, along with hopefully some other candidates whose platforms I haven't heard that kind of planning in. And, I'm sure Kathy, I haven't heard what Brandon Johnson said yet. I'm willing to listen, but everything that Lori's claiming she's going to do, she's not going to do. But there are other candidates out there who are prepared to take this on in ways that are necessary with investing into the communities. Jamal released a press release this week that one of the platforms he's also going to run on is like to have the police department start paying for all of their lawsuits instead of the taxpayers. Who's been talking about that ad nauseum? Now, I'm not saying he heard it from us. I think it's a very popular idea, but yeah.
Yes, but Jerry, we're also not saying he didn't hear it from us.
I can only hope, because we really admire him, and if he has any time to pay attention to us, I would be very, very grateful for that and humbled. So yeah, we thought we'd report on her sudden listening tour on these high crime neighborhoods.
Excuse me, Jerry. I take offense at you calling it a listening tour. I think my people even called it a listening tour, but everybody knows that I hear, but I absolutely do not listen. Gotta go.
That's true. So while she's pretending to be concerned about crime on the south and west sides, with her listening tour. Oh no, did this get blocked? No, it didn't get blocked. Not so much worried about crime and stuff here. Is this? Hang on, guys. I'm waiting for a video to load. That kind of is a transitionary piece. Will it play? Will it not?
This video isn't available anymore. What's going on there?
Oh, you saw that happening too.
Oh. Okay.
Same thing on your end?
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll just present this. I mean, I wanted to run the video because
maybe they reposted it.
Well, that's all right. We'd probably get a copyright strike from them anyway for sharing it, even though it's fair use. But let's just run some pictures because Block Club Chicago reported on it also. Speaking of crime, as reported by Melody Mercado at Block Club Chicago, the temporary casino in River North draws complaints from neighbors who doubt traffic parking won't get worse. Bally's plans to open a temporary casino in River North while it builds a permanent casino on the Chicago River's North Branch. The temporary casino, which will be at the 110-year-old Medina Temple, will be used until God darn it. Will be used until Bally's permanent casino and resort at the Tribune publishing site in River West is completed. They just can't wait to start the gambling. They just can't wait to start exploiting all the people who are going to come from the tough neighborhoods of Chicago in the hopes that they can get lucky gambling at the casinos. Oh, okay.
I got a video from Liz Nagy if you want to.
Well, I've started reading from the article, so let me continue. The city held its second community meeting for the temporary site Tuesday, allowing neighbors to ask questions and share concerns. The first session, held in July, was used to share how Medina Temple will be retrofitted for a casino while preserving the historical building. The Medina Casino will have 3 floors with 800 slot machines, 50 gaming tables, a 3-meal restaurant, quick food service venues, and bars. It will be open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Do you think that this thing's going to shut down once the Bally's Casino opens up over at the Chicago? No.
Or they'll try their darndest to keep it open. It's a lot easier to keep it open, right?
With the expense of that retrofitting, yeah. It's for the amount of money they're going to spend to retrofit the inside of the Medina Temple, that ain't going anywhere anytime soon, even after the regular casino opens, I guarantee you. A traffic study of Medina Temple commissioned by Bally's and conducted by Fish Transportation estimated that during peak hours, about 4 vehicles will arrive each minute, along with another 4 vehicles leaving. This is in the middle of, is that Streeterville, that district?
Where is that?
It's by the Hard Rock Cafe.
Yeah, it's Streeterville-ish area. Yeah, kind of little bit west.
The study also estimated 60% of patrons arriving by car will either park or valet. Additionally, it's estimated Medina Temple will generate 462 trips during the weekday evening commuter peak hour from 4 to 6 p.m. and 516 during Friday evening casino peak hours of 8 to 11 p.m. The study concluded there will be plenty of parking for casino patrons, citing about 5,000 available spots in parking garages in the area. Where? Overpriced parking. They forgot to add overpriced parking.
Yeah, we already got that over there.
I mean, and it'll probably be even more overpriced now that they know that they can bilk casino patrons. They'll just raise the costs. Tim Doran, senior traffic consultant with Fish Transportation, told residents Tuesday he thinks the traffic generated by the temporary casino will not overwhelm the neighborhood. He said he could predict this because he visited the parking garages near Medina Temple during peak times and counted empty spaces. The study has received backlash from neighborhood groups and the local alderman. She never listens to the local alderman or the neighborhoods who are like, get the fuck out, we don't want this, who say the study is flawed. Tuesday night was the first major opportunity for residents to share that frustration in person. Was she there to listen in person like she was on the south and west side to pander? I think not. I currently rent parking from 10 East Grand, and I can tell you on the weekends it's full. I can tell you in the summer it's full. In the winter, particularly, a resident said. Another asked if the city could guarantee parking rates won't go up because of the high demand by people headed to the casino. But officials said that's not something they can guarantee since the garages are operated by private businesses.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Lisa Hackney James, an Episcopal priest at nearby St. James Cathedral, said she's concerned about the possibility of casino goers taking up parking for Sunday services. The church uses about 300 parking spots Sundays at the Row parking garage at 50 East Ohio Street. I'm wondering what assurance we'll have that they're not going to come and show up to a saturated, especially from Saturday night to Sunday morning, parking situation, Hackney James said. Duran said that's not something he can guarantee. Another top concern for residents was public safety. Now, getting back to the Lightfoot is all worried about crime, right? Bally's executives said their best-in-class safety initiatives will include a single entrance to the casino, 24/7 surveillance system with video retention, concealed weapons detection technology, high-tech exterior video surveillance, and private security. Eric Carter, first deputy superintendent of the police department, said the city will install additional license plate readers and street cameras near the casino. He also said there will be police officers from the 18th district assigned to cover the exterior of the Medina Temple. Again, Ed, with the expense of what that's going to cost to put all this stuff in, that's going to be a permanent satellite casino of Bally's, period.
Yeah.
Residents pushed back, citing the trouble the department has had with the staff shortages and recruiting officers. Quote, "Why do I feel that I just received a Christmas gift that I never asked for?" said Stefan Brahe, president of the Condo Association for 55 East Erie. "I think it's pretty clear that the casino is a disruptive force in any neighborhood. These are families, these are children that live here. Some residents said they are ready to welcome the casino, citing economic opportunity and the creation of hundreds of jobs. Bally's will open an employment and training center early next year with a casino job fair slated for late spring or early summer," executives said. The temporary site is slated to open next summer. The next community meeting, which will focus on the permanent site, is December 5th at the Chicago Tribune Publishing Center at 700 West Chicago Avenue. Who would have imagined Lori Lightfoot would be channeling Biff Tannen from Back to the Future 2 and bringing the corruption and graft? I mean, we've already got enough problems with corruption and graft in Chicago. Now we're going to have it on steroids with the introduction of this temporary casino because we just can't wait to get the gambling started. Go ahead, Ed. I
don't know what else to say at this point. It's right around that area. And who was Hoptocopter says Northwestern Hospital will see impact. Yeah, the hospital's right around there too.
The Children's Hospital is right down the street from there.
Yeah,
Lurie's Children's Hospital, Northwestern. It's already saturated because of the restaurant and community there. I think that's probably what Lightfoot is relying on is the saturation of tourists there. But it's like it's not.
And that area is very difficult to navigate, even when there's light traffic, just because you're right there by the lake and Lakeshore Drive and Michigan Avenue, and if the cars they're going to crawl around there, and if you add the casino to that, it's going to be super gridlock.
Absolutely.
And imagine just like if it's holidays or if it's a weekend, it's people trying to get home, or it's going to be impossible for them to get out. People trying to get to the casino, it's going to take them forever to get down there. I don't know whose bright idea it was to put it at Medina Temple.
Whose bright idea it was? That's pretty clear. She thinks look, man, she's running on bread and circuses, right? From NASCAR to the casino, distractions, diversions, crony politics, crony corruption. This was the progressive reformer who bamboozled all of us and has completely turned her back on the South and West Side communities that believed in her brand of identity politics. She's abandoned them. She's abandoned her own people on those South and West Sides while just embracing the money and corruption of the elite status quo. Yes, Art, that's exactly what it's about. Kathy shares she's definitely in those restaurants, isn't she? They gave her gazinta dollars. The hookers will run into the common citizen. Consider all the Ubers, cabs, and other ride shares circling that area as well. Just traffic on traffic. Now, Kathy, to your point, they gave her gazinta dollars. You know who else gave her gazinta dollars? Boom. $1 billion. We reported on the passing along of CHA housing land to the Chicago fire.
Oh yeah, and I think you know, Jerry, I think a few of us had speculated that there must have been some kind of handshake deal going on, you know.
I knew it! Oh!
Yeah.
And here it is.
Here it is. And it only cost the billionaire who got the Chicago mayor's support to lease public land $25,000. Not only is she a whore, she's a cheap whore. Can I say that? I am going to say it. Lori Lightfoot isn't only a whore, completely betraying the citizens of Chicago, the most vulnerable who need that land for housing. She's a cheap whore.
What a fucking bitch, am I right?
I'm totally based tonight, Ed. I am just riled up from a lot of stuff this week, and I'm not going to pull any punches. So let's go into the article as reported by ProPublica.
But before you do, let's be absolutely clear. These are not misogynist comments.
Anybody who knows me knows
we are criticizing a public official.
That's right. And we said the same thing about Jim Gardner, right? Alderman Jim Gardner.
What a fucking bitch, am I right?
So it goes to both genders. There's no misogyny involved.
Precisely.
Thank you for helping clarify that, because I don't want anybody to misunderstand. That's not how I am. Kathy shares she's trying to lease out CPS parking lots to private organizations. What else is new? Art, people who live around Medina Temple Casino will Airbnb to their condos for private high-stakes gambling sessions. Yeah, very good point, Art. Very good point. So, ProPublica, here she is, holding up the jersey for the $25,000 payoff she got.
So, you see, it should have said 25 on those jerseys.
Right? Or 25, then 0000 across the board. So for months,
I have to jump onto Photoshop for a minute.
Let's do that for the next time we report on this.
Yeah.
And I can't believe that there aren't ethics officials looking into this, because for months, Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot has pushed a controversial plan to turn over public housing land to a professional soccer team owned by an influential billionaire. In mid-November, that billionaire owner of the Chicago Fire Football Club, Joe Mansueto, donated $25,000 to the mayor's re-election campaign. A billionaire, $25,000, and he gets all of that CHA land in this deal. And now,
you know, Jerry, before you continue, I think the deal is he probably paid her in gold.
He probably did. I am the leprechaun.
Thank you for that tip, and Kathy. And do we have more porn bots in the chat here?
Yeah, I just blocked another one.
Okay, that's number 2.
Yeah,
we must have a heck of a live stream going on tonight, Jerry.
It's my potty mouth. They use my potty mouth thinking that I'm talking about sex when I'm just hurling vulgarities at these horrible, corrupt public officials. Oreo, look at him. This guy's a little paw on my chest.
Yeah,
all right.
Arturo asks, "What is this word you're using, Jerry? Ethics?"
It's a word that is sadly vacant from most politicians' sphere of understanding here in Chicago. So back to the article from ProPublica. After, where was I? Joe Mansueto donated $25,000 to the mayor's reelection campaign. And now a member of the city council is asking the city government's top watchdog and ethics officials to investigate whether that contribution violates prohibitions on pay-to-play politics.
Yes.
Newsflash, it does.
Yes. So whatever money you're going to spend on that investigation, you can donate to the Chicago Corner Patreon, which is at patreon.com/Chicago Corner.
I believe this represents a gross and familiar abuse of power and at a minimum, a potential violation of the city of Chicago's governmental ethics ordinance. Alderman Raymond Lopez wrote in a letter to Deborah Witzberg. Well, I'm glad Alderman Lopez is writing that, although there's some question regarding his judgment with raising money to run for mayor and then, dropping out the day petitions were due with all of that campaign money that was donated to him to run for mayor.
Like Jerry, sometimes you just need money for a new wheelbarrow and, so you run for mayor. And then you decide you don't want to run for mayor, but you get to keep that money, and you got a new wheelbarrow now.
We're in the wrong business, Ed. So anyway,
I know. We got to get in the wheelbarrow business.
Dude, if I didn't have a conscience, I'd be so rich. So Raymond Lopez wrote a letter to Deborah Witzberg, the city's inspector general, and Steve Berlin, executive director of the city's board of ethics. Lopez cited the sections of the ordinance that prohibit gifts and political contributions meant to influence official decisions. All right, you know what? I'm going to applaud Lopez for this. I don't always agree with a lot of what he does, but kudos to him for deciding to report this, because as we spoke with him at that petition drop-off that morning, I do believe he is very dedicated to seeing Lightfoot removed, not just for his own ambitions or those of his, his associates or colleagues, but for the good of Chicago, because this is bullshit. Mansueto, though an ally, had never given to Lightfoot's political fund before his November 17th contribution, according to election disclosure records. Mansueto's family foundation has donated to a number of cultural and nonprofit entities, including ProPublica. On Wednesday, Lightfoot's campaign spokesperson praised Mansueto and fended off the criticism, because of course they would. Quote, Mr. Mansueto has been a socially responsible leader in Chicago's business community, investing in our neighborhoods and supporting a range of philanthropic initiatives. We are proud to have his support for our grassroots campaign, spokesperson Christina Freundlich wrote in a statement. She added, government decision-making is firewalled from political campaign activities, and our team executes a rigorous vetting process on every contribution to ensure we have complied with all campaign finance rules and laws.
Blowjob! Blowjob! Blowjob!
Thank you.
Kathy Powers asks, do we need a meme for the Chicago's Board of Ethics? I'm not exactly sure what she's getting at here. Although I suppose we could conjure up a new character from the Chicago Board of Ethics.
Arturo shares, I can see in the future a Casino Chicago scandal happening in a TV movie made in which Lightfoot is played by Halle Berry. Hollywood.
She would love that.
You know who would be better suited, though, to play Lori Lightfoot? I don't know if he's with us any longer, but I saw a meme.
Oh, yes.
Of Grady from the old Sanford and Son show. If he shaved his beard, that's who would be the best casting for Lori Lightfoot.
Yeah, I don't think he's with us anymore, but yeah, I saw that meme.
Anyway, give me a sec. Cold's almost out of me. A spokesperson for Mansueto did not address the campaign contribution, but stressed that the business leader is committed to... Thank you!
Sanford and Sons. Check that in on one of the television channels. Definitely worth a watch. I mean, it is a time capsule, though. You're going to have different kinds of weird... possibly potentially offensive things happening during the show, but realize that they were producing this in a different time.
There was nothing offensive about that program, Ed. People have just gotten more sensitive these days.
Yeah, it's a cultural sensitivity thing for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can see the resemblance, though. It's
Absolutely.
uncanny, actually.
And I appreciate how fast you were pulling that graphic up. So a spokesperson for Mansueto did not address the campaign contribution, but stressed that the business leader is committed to the city. Joe believes in investing in historically disinvested parts of Chicago, a vision he shares with Mayor Lightfoot as a way to lift up the city as a whole, the spokesperson wrote in a statement. Here's my question, Ed. Why does the mayor have to help push this deal through when the Bears are leaving Soldier Field? If the future of Chicago is in the Chicago Fire soccer team, we got a huge stadium on the lakefront that's going to need a sports team to occupy it. So instead of like figuring out how to maybe bridge that gap, she decides to give away CHA land that's sorely needed to house everybody that was driven out of the old public housing units in that part of town. Yeah.
If I may, Jerry, I think I can field this question. You see, we needed the soccer field and not use it for the football stadium when we're probably going to lose the Bears to Arlington Heights, because Chicago, I see Chicago as the future of NASCAR. And so what we'll probably end up doing is, after we do this awesome race next year, where absolutely nothing gets destroyed downtown with cars crashing into absolutely nothing, like nothing's going to happen, we're also going to need a backup plan for future races, and we're going to use that monstrosity out on which we currently call Soldier Field.
Kathy says soccer is hot now. No pun intended, since it's the Chicago Fire. But Kathy also says they're not leaving, and I'm not so sure, Kathy. And I think, it would be a really, really, don't you think from a strategic standpoint, it would make sense for the mayor to say, okay, Bears, goodbye. We're going to broker a deal with the Chicago Fire. And when your lease is up, you're gone. So we hope Arlington Heights works with you. That's how a real negotiator would play this. But she's not. She's just, for $25,000, she spread the legs of the city. Did I just say that? And I'm not even drinking. Mansueto made the donation the same week Lightfoot released the first ads in her bid for re-election against 10 challengers in February, and it came as officials worked to finalize a deal that would let Mansueto's team take over 23 acres of valuable land that have long been set aside to house low-income families. At Lightfoot's behest, the Chicago Housing, at her behest, how about at her order, the Chicago Housing Authority agreed to lease the site to the Fire so the team can build a new training facility. Oh, I'm sorry, it's just a training facility. You can't use Soldier Field?
Yeah.
You have to build a new training facility as opposed to use a field that we already have.
Yeah, it's not like the Bears are using that thing 24/7.
Nope. But the Lightfoot administration and the CHA have kept many of the key details secret. The CHA did not conduct a formal bidding process, and it has refused to release a copy of the proposed agreement or show how it determined the value of the land. Lopez is one of Lightfoot's leading council critics, but in September, he sided with her and voted in favor of a zoning change the Fire needed to build the new practice facility. Interesting. This was just a politically advantageous thing for him to then file a complaint about, it seems. He said in an interview that he still supports the Fire's project, but wrote the letter with disdain for the mayor's decision to accept the campaign donation. Okay, you know what, Alderman Lopez, with all due respect, you can't have it both ways. You cannot have it both ways. If you don't have a plan, an alternative plan for where the Fire can go so that the CHA land can go to house low-income families, then this is just political gamesmanship, in my opinion. It's taking advantage of an opportunity to grandstand, it seems to me.
Well, I don't think the city really should have to make a plan on where their practice field is going to be. The housing should be the priority, Jerry. It should always have been the priority.
Yeah, you're right, Ed. Quote, I look forward to the independent investigation by the Inspector General, Lopez said. On Wednesday, as Lopez sent his letter, CHA residents and housing advocates protested the land deal outside the headquarters of Morningstar, the investment research firm that Mansueto founded and serves as executive director. How much more glaring and transparent can the corruption be? I don't know, Ed. It's like, when I lived in Los Angeles for 10 years, I didn't really realize how blatant the corruption here was in Chicago until I was away from it, because when I'd see corruption in Los Angeles in the news cycle, I mean, there were reporters all over it and they weren't enabling it. Of course, that was a long time ago. I don't know what it's like there in Los Angeles now. But after I returned to Chicago, I'm like, we are so gaslit at the corruption around us to understand it's not tolerated in other cities. Or at the highest level of government, when you've got a mayor running the city like a fucking gangster. Oh, that's probably going to provoke the sex bots. My letting loose the F-bomb.
Do you think they'll hit us before 9, Jerry?
Should we take bets?
All right, I'm just going to go, I'm going to guess they're going to hit around 8:45.
Okay. So I dropped the F-bomb. It's 8:31, so we're thinking within the next, what is it? Not 15, 12 minutes, if my math is right, and it might not be.
We'll see.
So let's go to the live chat here. Arturo says, Jerry, your priest must be very disappointed in you, my boy. Yeah, well, I'm agnostic, so I don't have one. By the way, everybody, we do have a Patreon if you want to donate to our Patreon page. I want to also share and thank our patron, oh my goodness, Dominic Palella, who donated $500 to Chicago Corner earlier this year. That's been sitting in our account, Dominic, and I want to tell you, $189 of that went very far today as I promoted our holiday toy and food drive across 57 news calendar outlets online today. So, that's $189 out of the $500 Dominic donated. We're going to need to replenish that for all of our community initiatives and other expenses that come up here at Chicago Corner. Please support us at our Patreon page or through a super chat on Rockfin. And yes, you're welcome to donate on YouTube also, but it doesn't go as far. So Kathy asks, how much money did Morningside give her? It brought the school in Uptown across from Kappelman's office on Broadway. Good question. Don't know. All right, let's move on to other useless Chicago politicians, unless you feel
that doesn't narrow it down at all.
Well, it does to this pipsqueak from the 17th Ward. David Moore, Mr. Virtue Signaler, who was at the front of, the initiative to rename Lakeshore Drive while ignoring all the problems in his community, which this article, as reported by Atavia Reed at Block Club Chicago, will run down. Now, sadly, Alderman David Moore will run unopposed for the third term representing Southside 17th Ward. Moore was a key leader in the push to rename Lakeshore Drive. This is the first time he will run unopposed. Out of Auburn Gresham, Moore will represent parts of Auburn Gresham, Englewood Market Park, and Chicago Lawn under the new ward map. Moore was the only candidate to submit nominating signatures for the 17th Ward race, according to the Chicago Board of Elections Commissioners. Alderman Brian Hopkins of the 2nd, Walter Burnett of the 27th, Matt Martin of the 47th, and Scott Wagasbach, another useless, pandering, faux progressive, are also running unopposed. Moore first won the 17th Ward seat in 2015, beating two other candidates hoping to take then Alderman Latasha Thomas's seat after she served 4 years in office. He won again in 2019 against patient care facilitator Renetta Greenleaf. Moore did not immediately respond to requests for comment. Now, Moore, alongside the group Black Heroes Matter, was a prominent voice in the renaming of Lakeshore Drive, introducing the ordinance to change the name to Jean-Baptiste Pointe du Sable Drive in October of 2019. City officials voted to rename the 17-mile stretch after the city's founder in June of 2021, officially changing it to Jean-Baptiste Point du Sable Drive, Lakeshore Drive, after months of heated debates. In Auburn Gresham, a number of businesses shockingly closed under Moore's tenure, including a Save-A-Lot grocery store, CVS Pharmacy, and a Bank of America. You know, Ed, one wonders how much could have been saved there had he not been so hell-bent on this virtue signaling of changing the name of Lakeshore Drive, which I think is going to be his legacy after all this. When he's long gone, that's what people are going to remember him for. And was it really that helpful to the members of his 17th ward where these businesses are closing down? Now, also in June, priorities, right? Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, like you were about to say, I mean, first the Save-A-Lot grocery store. And then in June, the Aldi closes. I mean, we have a hard enough time getting grocery stores to stick around in neighborhoods that need them the most. And he was basically an absent alderman when these places were struggling. I mean, we've talked about how aldermen should be staying on top of the grocery stores and food stores in their wards. And they should make sure that they're communicating with them so that they can make sure that these people have access to food. In every ward, not just his ward, every ward.
But he had to seize Lakeshore Drive and pander with identity politics and virtue signaling and make it a racial issue. Because you know what, Ed? I'm going to go on the record and say it here. He divided the city by, I think he divided the city by focusing on this. Yes, Jean-Baptiste Point du Sable is a Chicago hero. He has many landmarks named after him. Mm-hmm. Lakeshore Drive was the most benign name of a street that unites the city from south to north, north to south. And to decide that it had to be named after a cultural Black hero that helped found the city, I think it was divisive. And I think that it pandered to racial tensions. Because you know what? If he really wanted to make a statement, he could have demanded that they rename Columbus Drive. And you know what? I would have been all for it.
Yeah.
But to seize Lakeshore Drive.
Or really any super long north-south street that didn't have any already something historically attached to it. I mean, would Western Avenue have done maybe? Just as an example?
I still think if you wanted to make a statement against the genocidal maniacs that unfortunately are still celebrated as heroes, they should have renamed Columbus Drive. And it's right, it borders right parallel to Lakeshore Drive. Runs right through the heart of the city. Rename Columbus Drive. I'd be all for that because I'm no fan of Christopher Columbus. I just think that seizing the main street look, you've got two nationally well-known streets across the country related to Chicago, the Magnificent Mile and Lakeshore Drive. Right? So he seized Lakeshore Drive to elevate himself and basically make this about identity politics. In June, an Aldi closed unexpectedly, removing a low-cost option for fresh food in the community. Neighbors weren't told the grocer was closing and only found out after seeing the store boarded up with a closed banner along the side. At the time, Moore told the Sun-Times the store's lease lasted until the end of the year, and the location had recently received a liquor license. Moore joined Alderman Raymond Lopez to introduce a city council resolution to examine the failure of the city of Chicago food access policies to meet the needs of underserved residents in June following the closure of the Aldi and the Englewood Whole Foods. Where was he prior to that?
And why does this resolution sound like they're just going to do a study and then not do anything about it?
Because they're going to do a study and not do anything about it.
Thank you, Jerry.
But developments in Auburn Gresham have received key support from Moore, including Auburn Gresham Apartments, a controversial $43 million affordable apartment complex created under Mayor Lori Lightfoot's Invest Southwest initiative. Several neighbors pushed back against the development for months, requesting neighborhood necessities such as a grocery store, pharmacy, or bank. Sounds like potential gentrification.
Yeah, and why not public housing? You know,
kind of reminds me of what Kappelman did in his ward with the gentrification, putting in the $43 million affordable apartment complex. Who can afford to live in a $43 million affordable apartment complex on 79? Isn't there housing? Aren't there vacant properties in that neighborhood can be redeveloped to like give affordable housing now?
When news organizations or politicians use the word affordable, I don't trust it.
No, that's their buzzword to deflect and act like they're doing something.
Yeah, I don't trust that things are actually affordable when they say affordable. Affordable for who?
The Healthy Lifestyle Hub, led by community organization Greater Auburn Gresham Development Corporation, answered the call by bringing restaurants, a bank, a medical center, and more to the community. The hub, which won the first $10 million Chicago prize, opened its doors with more support in November. Yellow Banana, a Black-owned company that owns and operates stores under the Save-A-Lot name, received $13.5 million in tax increment financing to lease and rehabilitate 6 grocery stores across the south and west sides, including the closed Auburn Gresham location. A $35 million Metro stop, 16 years in the making, will also open in Auburn Gresham as soon as 2024. Auburn Park Metro Station will operate at 79th Street and Low Avenue across from a newly renovated Jamaican Jerk Via. Moore ran for the Secretary of State seat this year. Oh, wait a minute. I didn't realize this. He ran for, I forgot this. He ran for, he was another one of these self-enriching politicians who decided while he's alderman, he's also going to run for Secretary of State. While
they shouldn't be able to do that.
This is what Chewy did as congressman. He re-won his seat as congressman, so now naturally he's running for the mayor of Chicago.
And he's automatically disqualified in my mind because he should be sticking in Congress right now.
That's what he ran on. That's the job he should be doing. Or, as Willie Wilson said, he should donate his congressman's salary to the citizens of Chicago if he's going to run for mayor, because he's not doing the work in Congress. Moore ran for the Secretary of State seat this year. I mean, this just pretty much puts a bow on everything David Moore is about. Hoping to fill the seat held by Jesse White for more than 20 years, he lost in the Democratic primary to general election winner Alexi Janulius. Moore's former chief of staff, Sean Flynn, will challenge Alderman Michelle Harris in this year's race. Sad that he's running unopposed, or maybe people thought he had a chance at winning the other primary that they didn't mobilize to run against him. But anyway, yeah, that little pipsqueak is, we're going to be stuck with him a lot longer than we'd hoped. All right. Opening up the next story. Please stand by. Oh, here we go. So I saw this particular piece of news, and with all the other stuff I saw we were going to be reporting on tonight that just made my blood boil. This is a positive story. Okay, so I'm actually like glad to see one of our aldermen doing something good here. As soon as I can get the story open, it's loading. Sorry, guys, stand by. You got it there, Ed?
I got the letter there. I can load up the Twitter thing if you want.
Yeah, I'm waiting for Twitter to load, and I'm also waiting for the coverage from NBC Chicago to load.
Okay, you want me to get the Twitter up?
Yeah, let me put the screen up so people aren't waiting.
Okay. Okay, here we go. We're from Alderman Laspada's Twitter page.
Yes. Why does Twitter always take so long to load? I don't understand. So Alderman Laspada shared on Twitter that Chicago faces a homeless crisis. No doubt.
Yes.
And providing housing is the best way to end homelessness. I've sent a letter to our First Ward shared housing providers asking them to participate in the Chicago Rents program. By working together, we can ensure every Chicagoan has a home. Now, I'm going to read from Alderman Laspada's letter to the, why isn't this opening? Oh. All right. Dear neighbor, I'm writing to you as an operator of one of more than 300 shared housing units in the First Ward. As a previous Airbnb host myself, I know how rewarding it is to open your home to those visiting Chicago. There are so many who would never experience our shops, bars, and restaurants if it wasn't for your hospitality. In this moment for the city, though, I'm asking you to be a part of a solution for the city's housing crisis for those most in need. Tonight in the First Ward, dozens of our neighbors are sleeping outside. Hundreds more are sleeping doubled and tripled up in single apartments. Many are trying to make the hard choices to escape abusive and violent relationships, but have nowhere to go, particularly if they have children. This is not for a lack of funding by the city of Chicago, though the Chicago Rents Program and the Low-Income Housing Trust Fund, through the Chicago Rents Program and the Low-Income Housing Trust Fund, the city will pay up to 100% of market rents to landlords willing to participate. They will also screen tenants and provide supportive services to ensure both the landlord and the tenant have a positive experience. No, the lack is of landlords willing to participate,
particularly on the north
side. Due to a lack of participation, you know what? I'm just going to have to bite the bullet and put on my reading glasses, and you guys will have to deal with the glare. Due to a lack of participation in communities like ours, frequently women escaping violence have been placed in apartments down the street from their abuser. I love your love of hospitality, but we need you in this moment. We need you to extend that spirit of hospitality to those in need of stable and affordable housing in a way that I believe we make good financial sense for you as well. It is amazing but true that just 10% of shared housing hosts in the First Ward choosing to participate in these programs would end outdoor homelessness in our ward. Truly. If you are even curious about whether this program could be a good fit for you, please email the First Ward at info@the1stward, info@thefirstward.com. Call us at 872-206-2685 or just drop in Monday through Friday at 1958 North Milwaukee from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. We'd love to talk to you more about these options and connect you with those who facilitate them. Together this winter, we can ensure that everyone is taken care of. Sincerely, Alderman of the First Ward, Daniel Laspada.
Okay, I mean that's not a terrible solution to this at all. That's a really good solution.
It's a step in the right direction. It's not perfect, but it is a step in the right direction. Now, I also
if it gets the city to spend money to house homeless people, I'm for it.
Now, Alderman Laspada was also included with a bunch of other aldermen in holding the mayor accountable. Now, this is an article from NBC5, November 7th. Chicago City Council approves Mayor Lightfoot's $16 billion budget for 2023. Highlighted in the article, though, was Alderman Daniel Laspada of the First. He took Lightfoot to task for spending only a fraction of the federal money appropriated for an array of social programs in last year's budget. It was deeply frustrating to learn how little money has gone out the door for such vital programs as domestic violence and youth outreach, Laspada said. It's important that when we have the money, we spend it, not only allocate the money, but use it. Laspada went on to say that a lot of asks by the council's Latino caucus seem to have fallen on deaf ears. Alderman Laspada, I don't have my hat with me, but I tip it to him because I think that, as we're constantly agonizing over the homeless crisis here in the city of Chicago, look, he stepped up and is trying to do something about it, reaching out to the Airbnb community or other homeowners that have got spare space to house homeless people and get reimbursement from the money that should go to them, since obviously there's such a lack of affordable housing otherwise. All right, so what does Kathy say here? Of course, there's going to be Laspada, same to the Dog and Pony Town Hall for youth at the Harold Washington Library. He was so engaged with those who came. He's really decent. Okay, good. I'm appreciative. When I think you meant Laspada came to the Dog and Pony Town Hall, not same. Should we send her hearing aids? Yeah, right. Anyway, I thought that was.
She hears fine. She just
Oh, she hears fine. She doesn't listen. That's exactly what it is. Lori hears, but she does not listen. All right, moving into other more positive and encouraging stories to bring our show close to its ending and inspiring our viewers to realize that it's not that hopeless as we bitch and moan about the corruption. There are actually good people in this city taking on the struggle to get good things done and help each other and support each other. This comes to us from Block Club Chicago, as reported by Maya McDonald out of Austin, Garfield Park, and North Lawndale. It will take a village to fight the root causes of violence, so Westsiders are building one. The Sanofka Wellness Village would provide wellness resources, healthy food opportunities, and more to prevent violence and other issues. And there it is right there. A mass shooting on Halloween. Hang on, guys. Sorry. A mass shooting on Halloween in East Garfield Park left 14 people wounded and devastated the community, but Westside leaders and neighbors are finding ways to address the root causes of local violence and prevent more tragedies. The drive-by shooting saw 3 kids wounded, with the youngest just 3 years old. Afterwards, neighbors and local leaders called for more resources and investment to transform the community, and they said they have a plan to do just that through a project that could break ground as soon as next year. Now they just need support and funding. Hello, City Council. Hello, Mayor Lightfoot. It was just a neighborhood coming together to respond and say we won't let this discourage us from doing the day-to-day spade work of building community, said Marshall Hatch Jr. of the new Mount Pilgrim Missionary Baptist Church, 4301 West Washington Boulevard. The Garfield Park Right to Wellness Collaborative has long worked to make things better for neighbors, pushing for the renewal of the area's Madison and Pulaski commercial corridors, and giving away food to people in need after the local Aldi closed. The group is now pushing for more support for its latest project, Sankofa Wellness Village. The village would connect healthcare and wellness providers to other resources, including a business incubator in the neighborhood. The idea was named for a finalist in the $10 million Chicago Prize in November. The winner will be announced this month, but finalists will at least get $500,000. The Wellness Village is expected to break ground in 2023. Organizers aim to establish a community-informed and owned services where neighbors will feel comfortable, and that will help improve life expectancy, community well-being, and wealth, this said spokesperson Brianna Poole. Some of these photos show a playground outside of the MAC, home of the new Mount Pilgrim Missionary Baptist Church Mafa Redemption Project, and let's see here, some of the digital renderings, of the Mafa Center for Arts and Activism that are associated with this project. Now, let me keep it over there. Poole said the Sankofa Wellness Village would have 4 main elements which will need to be built. The Sankofa Village Wellness Center, a 60,000 square foot facility that will include a health center, gym, and exercise facility, early childhood development programs, community-owned credit union. That's cool.
Yeah.
Small business support and other services. The Mafa Center for Arts and Activism, or the MAC, a residential leadership, workforce development, and arts center to be built inside a renovated new Mount Missionary Baptist Church at 4239 West Washington Boulevard. The K Entrepreneurship Development Hub, a business incubator. The Community Grocer Initiative, a community-led effort to bring grocers and healthy food to the neighborhood. Theodore T.J. Crawford, executive director of the Garfield Park Right to Wellness Collaborative, said the village is also part of a larger project where the group will create a quality of life plan for the neighborhood, activate vacant lots, and more. The collaborative includes new Mount Pilgrim Missionary Baptist Church, Rush Medical Center, the MAAFA Redemption Project, Westside United, the Community Builders, the YMCA, the Institute of Nonviolence, Erie Family Health Centers, Bethel New Life, Bobby E. Wright, CBHC, the Garfield Park Community Council, and others, Poole said. isn't it refreshing to see all of these community organizations basically helping, put in the work and time that's needed to help the local community as opposed to waste that same amount of time and effort renaming a street as some of our other civic leaders chose to do?
I just put a link in the live chat for the Sankofa Wellness Village webpage if you guys want to learn more about this place. And it's up on the screen.
Crawford said the village will work to prevent violence in Garfield Park by addressing underlying problems, providing people with mental health care, healthier foods, jobs, opportunities, and more. This is stuff that our city should be focused on doing with all of the tax money that they receive, but, instead redirect towards their cronies and pet projects enriching soccer teams, right? I mean, I know it's like there's several degrees of separation, but I think you guys understand what I'm talking about here. These are the priorities that they're not focused on. And it requires the neighborhood, outreach groups like YMCA, Institute for Nonviolence, Erie Family Health Centers, Bethel New Life. These are the people who are stepping up because our civic leaders are not addressing this stuff. Go ahead, Ed.
If we had more places like this popping up all over the city, we'll be much better off.
Yep.
And if we can get, so I'm looking forward to seeing the success rate of this effort. They said they're going to be opening in 2023, or are they going to start breaking ground?
I believe breaking ground. Okay. Crawford said, quote, violence is a symptom of larger issues in the community. Crawford said some look at it as the thing that we need to deal with. But when you dig underneath that, you recognize that there are a number of different social, political, and health determinants that lead up towards violence. So the work of the Wellness Village and all of the members of the collaborative is looking at what we do before that happens. Thank heavens. Doesn't this just validate everything we've been talking about here? I mean, I'm glad to know that we were onto something. This is not, they're listening to us. This is like, I think logical heads are looking at the situation and talking about proactive solutions, not reactive ones. And thank heavens that these people are focused on how to make that happen.
But Jerry, I don't see how this is going to work without an extremely oversized police training academy attached to the entire thing. Gotta go.
What a fucking bitch, am I right?
The article goes on to say, in answer to your question, Ed, and yes, Kathy, I'm going to head over to Walgreens and grab some when I grab my dinner after the show. Thank you very much for that recommendation. The collaborative hopes that the Sankofa Wellness Village, which will be funded through fundraising efforts and financial support, can be open and operational by 2025, said Ayesha Jocko, Executive Director of Westside United. Jocko, who grew up in the area, said the collaborative is working to improve life for neighbors and to build trust with them and following through on promises. This is shown to be particularly important following the departure of the Aldi last year, Jocko said. In Moore's Ward, the abrupt closure upset many residents, and the collaborative is trying to prevent similar events in the future, Crawford said. Aldi's packing up in the middle of the night. Aldi's packing up in the middle of the light left a stain, Jocko said. It was an oasis, living in a community where the food and liquor store was normally your grocery store before Aldi opened, where there were buckets of places that you could go, get a little bit of this and a little bit of that, but never a one-stop shop without having to leave the community. We're hoping that our work will help restore trust, and by us being ambassadors, honest brokers to some degree, so that when corporate partners come into the community, we are being very transparent and positioning community community voice in a way where they are helping to build out services that will impact them with their voices being taken into consideration. So there are also some photos here at Block Club Chicago of the construction area. Jocko said she feels a growing sense of hope in her community, even though there's much work ahead to make the Wellness Village a reality. Following through on that hope will take arming people, supporting people walking alongside people to bridge that gap to go where power exists, she said. To bring your power to then bring about change is something that we're adamant about. I think people from elders to adults, young adults, children can see the community in a different light than what it was 30 years ago because of the work that we're doing. Amen to that. I just got dizzy, I think, from talking so much and dealing with my head cold. Yeah. So there's some positive news coming out from our neighborhoods in Chicago.
Yeah, it'd be nice if they had gotten the ball rolling on that a few years earlier, and if their alderman had actually been proactive about that, maybe that would have happened.
He needed to focus on renaming Lakeshore Drive. That's what he needed to do.
Mission accomplished, bud.
And he's running unopposed. He's failing upward and being rewarded for his inaction because no one else stepped up to get that pipsqueak out. Give me a moment. All right, guys, it's the most wonderful time of the year. And if you have not yet started your holiday decorating, here are 50 spots where you can find a real Christmas tree in Chicago. As reported by Kaylee Padar, we are not going to list all 50 spots, but I did want to share this article as linked in our show description and our show notes for tonight. Block Club Chicago has shared an article from Christmas trees to homemade wreaths, gardening shops, and lots across Chicago are prepared to meet all of your holiday decor needs. Blog Club compiled a list of places you can find real holiday foliage in the city, stretching from Andersonville, Avondale, Back of the Yards, Beverly, Bucktown, Burnside, Edinburgh, Saguenay, Edgewater, Forest Glen, Fulton Market, Garfield Park, Goose Island. Advertising consideration. Hermosa, Humboldt Park, Hyde Park, Irving Park, Jefferson Park, Lakeview, Lincoln Park, Lincoln Square, Logan Square. You get the idea. I guess that they're referencing all 50 wards of the city. But it's linked there in our show notes again. Get busy, everybody. The holidays are coming up. And you're going to want to be ready however you celebrate the holidays of any denomination. It's not about religion. It's about good cheer. It's about helping each other. It's about coming together in community and realizing that there's more to celebrate amongst ourselves and helping each other out, supporting each other, than in dividing ourselves with our tribal religious mentalities that I think divide us. So, I mean, that's how I look at the holidays. It's not so much about Christmas as much as everybody coming together. And speaking of coming together, there we go. We are official. Boom. There you go, everybody. We just listed today on the Chicago Reader and across a bunch of other social media calendars and news sites across the city. I'm going to read our official press release to share with everybody just what a big deal this is and how much planning we're putting into it. Because
I think we might need some music behind this one.
Do you have some holiday music?
Well, let's see. I mean, well, this is cinematic. I mean, we could go for the Taco Tuesday stuff.
No, I don't think the Taco Tuesday stuff goes with this ad. I mean, if we don't have anything holiday-like, let me just go through it.
Okay, I'll turn it off.
Okay. All right, so here's the official press release, everybody. We're putting a lot of work into this, so I hope that, more people than are just tuning into our live streams 10 at a time show up. Join the Chicago Corner team in their first annual canned food and toy drive celebration. Help us help others and enjoy a double feature screening of 2 Chicago-based Christmas Eve classics. Chicago Corner is hosting its first annual holiday food and toy drive at the Patio Theater on December 23rd, 2022 from 5 to 10 p.m. Attendees can bring shelf-stable canned food and new unwrapped toys for half off admission, which means the admission to the show is only going to be $5 as opposed to $10. To the Patio Theater's holiday double feature screening of 2 Chicago Christmas Eve classics, My Movie Solstice and Chris Columbus's Home Alone, although it was produced by John Hughes. Food and toys will be delivered on Saturday, December 24th to the Chicagoland Toy Drive and the Greater Chicago Food Depository for distribution to Chicago families in need. Chicago Corner is Chicagoland's premier indie news show, live streaming twice a week on YouTube and Rockfin, presenting commentary and analysis of the news, stories, politics, neighborhoods, and culture that make Chicago the best city in the world. Hosted by Jerry Vasilatos, Kira McCann, and Edward Heller, the Food and Toy Drive was in response to the crises facing so many families across the city, not only during the holidays, but all year round. Quote, "It's our hope that by rallying our viewers and neighbors across Chicagoland to come out to this community outreach event, we could do some good, as we're always looking for solutions to the recurring challenges of poverty, food insecurity, and homelessness on our program," Vasilatos said. The motto for the event is "Help Us, Help Others." The Chicagoland Toy Drive is a subsidiary project of Chai Gives Back Incorporated that was designed to collect toys for low-income and homeless children living in the Chicago area. The Greater Chicago Food Depositories network of food pantries and programs serve families that continue to experience food insecurity at high rates. Chicago Corner will live stream to YouTube and Rockfin and interact with attendees, delivering food and food donations in the patio theater lobby before showtime. The patio theater is located at 6008 West Irving Park Road, Chicago, Illinois. Chicago Corner's pre-show food and toy drive live stream will begin at 5:30 p.m. Solstice begins at 7 p.m. Home Alone begins at 8 p.m. A Christmas sing-along led by Jay Warren on the patio's organ will precede the 7 o'clock screening. Now, we are also hoping to invite friends of the show to join us for the live stream, to comment on these pressing issues of food insecurity and poverty throughout the city. We have a list of people, friends of the show and civic leaders that we respect and admire. I can't guarantee any of them are going to show up, but we're definitely going to reach out to them to make this a star-studded event of actual civic leaders who are engaged in joining us to attack these issues head on, as we talk about on the show all the time. But there's the banner, and we hope that you spread the word. Let's see here. Live chat. I believe that the company of others is important for people, especially when they're trying to get through the damn winter. Solstice is when it starts coldest, but when you see the sun starts coming back. That's exactly why my film is titled Solstice Hobo Roadie. Solstice is the winter solstice is the darkest time of the year, darkest and coldest time of the year. And it just so happens that's when the holidays fall. So people are dealing with that coldness and darkness, not just on a seasonal, but an emotional level. And that is what inspired the title of my film, which takes place on Christmas Eve. Glad that you shared that so I could also share the significance. Art shares last night at the patio. They were setting up for Christmas, and I think the theater will look great for the holidays. Yes, last night was the December Big Picture Chicago screening. That Art's film, Cold Farewell, was screened at. It was a great event. A lot of great indie films there. We're going to be focusing on the patio theater's Big Picture Chicago screenings every month. So, yeah, and Kathy, yeah, it's about peace. That's what the holidays are about. Not about religion. It's about peace. So we hope that as we gear up for this, that all of you out there will go to our Twitter, go to our Facebook, start sharing the event, encourage your friends, come with groups of friends and family members, bring canned food, bring toys. We want to have a big bundle of food and toys that we can deliver to the Chicagoland Toy Drive and the Greater Chicago Food Depository on Christmas Eve, because they're going to be making deliveries Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. So what better way to be involved in spreading holiday cheer and enjoying 2 Christmas movies in the bargain? That's my pitch, Ed.
It's gonna be a good time. Seriously, if you guys want to come out for the sing-along, just get there early. Movie starts at 7, but the doors open earlier than that. And we'll be in the middle of a live stream. And hopefully one of us will run in there and get to sing along with you. I think this is one of the best events that we planned so far, Jerry. because
I hope so.
Not only do we get to see your movie in an actual theater, which I haven't had a chance to do yet. I've watched it online, but I've never seen it in an actual movie theater, and I'm looking forward to that. And then to pair it with Home Alone, which is another classic film, I think we're going to have a really good time. And we'll be collecting canned food. We'll be collecting toys, and you should tell all your family and friends who didn't already get out to the music box. Come out to the patio theater. This is going to be a really good time.
Ed, I appreciate that immensely. But truth be told, I haven't even been thinking about the fact my movie's showing there. For me, it was like, how can we get people out to attend something? Mm-hmm. We can also encourage them to bring stuff to give back to the city. So the reason I've also used the film as a tool in past screenings in previous years that were unrelated to Chicago Corner to collect toys is there's a scene in the movie related to the main character encountering a child who thinks Santa Claus is going to show up for Christmas, and her mother's unemployed and clearly in distress. And there's a moment in the film that addresses the main character doing something to reach out, actually not just to help the little girl, but earlier in the film, helping a homeless woman. So it's like, I produced this film over 30 years ago. And, we were dealing with homelessness and poverty then. I mean, it's clearly, back then homelessness in my mind was just starting, which is why it made such an impact on me when I produced the film. Now it's like, it's all around us. But I realized like, hey, if I can inspire people to like come out and see a movie and like, say, hey, you can see the movie for free, just bring some donations. Or in this case, we have to have a half price admission because it's got to cover the costs of running the theater that night. But I'm just figuring out how can we use this as a tool to get people out together after the craziness of the pandemic that separated everybody for almost 2 years, bring people together and also do some good giving back. So, truth be told, I do think it plays better on a big screen. So it'll be satisfying and fulfilling to be able to share that. But most importantly, bring people out to participate in the toy and food drive and interact with our viewers and all the attendees that we will also showcase on our live stream. And hopefully we will be able to go into the theater for the sing-along as well. Daniel and Faze from 99 Perspectives will be helping us with the live streaming services. So they're a co-sponsor of the event. And we're going to be going out tomorrow to the patio, you, Kira, and I, and Kit, to shoot a promo that we're also going to share on social media from the patio theater. So hope to have that up this week.
Yep. Oh, you know what, Jerry? We're at the end of the show, and no more sex bots in the live chat.
So who won?
I guess I lost that one.
You lost that bet.
See, it's because Kathy stopped talking about Lori's you know what.
Yeah, Lori's big thing. So that's all I got tonight, ladies and gentlemen. As always, I'm very, very grateful you were able to join us and participate in the live chat. Will Lori be there? Asks Kathy. Possibly.
I beg your pardon. What did you say?
Possibly, but not the Lori you're expecting. And that's all I'm going to say. She might be. I don't even think you knew this, Ed. That's a teaser.
It could be the one.
Oh, my goodness. Whoa. 9:14. It was actually 40 minutes, and they showed up.
Damn, I missed it by I missed it. Wait, what did I say it was going to be? 8:45?
Yeah.
Okay, so I missed it by 29 minutes.
Yeah, but they showed up, man. So that's the time. So
that's because we called for them.
So we'll have to gauge in the future if we drop the F-bomb, how quickly they'll show up. I guess it's like 40 minutes. No, half an hour. Half an hour to 40 minutes.
Awesome.
All right, Ed, listen, thanks for joining me tonight. I got to go get some NyQuil and some dinner. As always, it's a pleasure to share these broadcasts with you and have your very, very valuable and more grounded commentary than when I get all riled up.
I tell you, Jerry, it took me many years to get this docile. I used to be where you are right now emotionally, really? But I've mellowed out over the years, and I realize, you know what? It's kind of fun watching Jerry go through this.
I get to spew and what's the word? Radiate all the bile that everybody else is going through, and at least give voice to all the frustration.
Yeah.
All right.
It actually makes my job a little easier here.
Yeah. Well, I'm happy to provide that then. Anyway, Ed, thanks for joining tonight. I will be talking to you tomorrow. To everybody else in the live stream who's participated tonight, thanks for joining us. And as we go into the weekend, please make sure to be safe. Watch out for each other. Be vigilant. Stay safe. And always remember, if it's happening on the streets, you'll hear about it here on Chicago Corner. Please stay safe, Chicago.
Get out. And don't come back until you've redeemed yourselves.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.